we finally hit that point of the season where I feel comfortable selecting a few teams that I find to be true championship contenders. I know what you're thinking, but sadly the Kings aren't one of those teams. With those teams, in my opinion, being the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Boston Celtics, the New York Knicks, Milwaukee Bucks, OKC Thunder, and the Denver Nuggets. And hey, maybe one more month and the Sacramento Kings are going to be on that list, but for right now, that's really all I have. And actually, now that I say it out loud, it sounds kind of wild that I have the Eastern Conference with more contenders than the West. But anyways, the reason why I'm going over this is because today we saw a bunch of these teams that I feel like are real contenders play in the NBA. Some of them going up against each other and other ones just playing against the Spurs. And actually, it was that game between the OKC Thunder and Cavaliers that had a lot of people wondering if this was an early viewing of what we could see in the NBA Finals. So I decided I wanted to go through every single team that I feel is a true contender and see what their best, worst, and most likely outcome will be for the season. And you know what? Since we're already talking about them, the Cleveland Cavaliers. Oh my God, is this one of the more shocking teams that we've seen this season? I think a lot of people just expected the Boston Celtics to be running the entire Eastern Conference and not let any other team have a chance. But the Cavaliers have actually been like one of the best teams that we've seen in NBA history, even better than the OKC Thunder if we're looking at record and, you know, some stats as well. So I think we can get it out of the way in saying that the best situation, like the best case scenario for this team is that they win a championship. For some reason, a lot of people look at these teams that are just more of a surprising, you know, top seed in whatever conference it is and immediately say that they don't have what it takes or they're not going to be able to make the run for something big. They did it with the OKC Thunder last year just because of their age, when in reality, they could have made it to the NBA Finals if SGA didn't foul on that three-point shot. A lot of these things where it's like, that doesn't really have an effect, but I guess you get the bonus points when they do get knocked out of the playoffs. But anyways, I'm saying that because I have seen those conversations around the Cavaliers, people saying that they've only played against bad teams. They haven't had any competition yet, and that they're just lucky to start the season 32-4. Like, do you know how ridiculous you sound when saying that? Not to mention they've beaten the Boston Celtics a handful of times. They've beaten the Milwaukee Bucks a bunch of times. They just had a great game against the OKC Thunder. This team is battle tested. They are ready to make something happen in the postseason. Not to mention, Donovan Mitchell has been through this before. This isn't like his first time being a top seed in conference. So I just have this very strong feeling that they're going to make something happen. Whether it's a finals run or a championship or whatever, I don't know. I can't predict the future. When it comes to the worst situation that they could be in, I feel like that could be like a second round playoff exit, which is still a very high floor that I'm setting for them, but I genuinely think they are that good. If I'm looking at the standings right now and trying to see what team they're going to go up against in the first round, it's most likely going to be like the Bulls, 76ers, or Hawks, I guess is kind of what I'm seeing here. If it's the Hawks, then we're going to have some issues because the Cavaliers just can't beat the Hawks for some reason this season. In all seriousness, they will be a breeze in the first round. When it comes to the second round, though, you kind of run into the Boston Celtics, the Milwaukee Bucks, the New York Knicks, these teams that can be a huge challenge for you. Also, I don't mean to like completely breeze over the Orlando Magic in this video. I really appreciate what the Orlando Magic have done, and they are going to make the playoffs, but they've suffered from so many injuries that I'm just not really considering them in these talks right now. Sorry, I know I'm talking about the Cavaliers, but I'm just looking at the standings, and the Orlando Magic are just sandwiched in between the teams that I'm talking about right now. As for their most likely outcome this season, I have them as like an Eastern Conference Finals team. As much as I would love to see this team go through to the NBA Finals and win a championship without LeBron, I just need to see them go up against like one good team in the playoffs and see how they do in that situation. Then I can kind of judge them better. I mean, if we just get one series against, like I said before, the Bucks, Celtics, or Knicks, and they dominate or they show that they can have a very good outing against those teams, I'm all in. Moving forward, we have the Boston Celtics. Once again, best case scenario for them, in my opinion, is another championship going back to back. I don't think that's too crazy to say, and it's going to be a common theme amongst most of these teams that I talk about. Y'all gonna hate me for this, but the worst case scenario for this team is that they get knocked out in the first round. I'm gonna just say it right now. Some crazy ass team that's known for like upsetting everyone, like the fucking Atlanta Hawks going up against the Celtics, maybe even the Indiana Pacers. Like, I hate to say it because the Boston Celtics are a great team and they have proven to be be a great team. They just won a championship. I still feel like they're one of those rosters that will make a huge mistake like that and not be able to recover. So yeah, worst case scenario, first round exit. I'm gonna just say it right now. As for their most likely situation, I think that they're going to be an NBA Finals team. I think they're gonna make their way back there. As much as I hate to say that, and I hope it doesn't happen, I think they have the best chance probably in the Eastern Conference to do so, just because they are coming off of a championship. So yeah, I kind of have the floor very low for them, but the ceiling also very high. The New York Knicks, man, am I so happy that this team is actually doing good this season. I was praying that the Karl Anthony Towns trade would make sense for this team and they would actually benefit from it. And with how fun this team has been to watch, I love it. But unfortunately, I think that their best case scenario is also like an Eastern Conference Finals run. They're just one of those teams, man, and I don't really know exactly how to say it, but it takes like one player to have a bad night and their team is just completely crumbled. They don't have that crazy depth that other teams like the Boston Celtics, the Cleveland Cavaliers, or even the OKC Thunder have. So in those environments like the playoffs, it's just one injury and you're out. It's one player not having a good performance and that game is over and all of a sudden you're down in the series. It's situations like that that make me feel like their best case scenario is a little bit more capped than saying something like winning a championship or going to the finals. I would say their floor is the second round as well, kind of like the Cavaliers. I don't think that they can lose in the first round. I think they're going to start off the playoffs with too much energy, too much excitement, too much going on where they just won't lose the first round. I don't care who they're really going up against in the East. Most likely scenario for the New York Knicks. The most likely scenario for the New York Knicks is probably the second round if I had to guess. I mean, I see them going up against some of these teams and just thinking about how hard of a series that would be. So I'm gonna say most likely is probably like a second round team, you know, win or lose, who knows. And finally, in the Eastern Conference, we have the Milwaukee Bucks, a team that started the season with a ton of people doubting them. I may have been one of them, but they've really picked things up. And yeah, they're not really like a top seed like they have been in previous years, but you know, they're still kind of recovering from the start of the season. My ceiling for the Milwaukee Bucks, I'm not gonna lie, as much as I want to give them credit and say that they're gonna pick things up when it comes to the playoffs and whatever, I want to say like second round. I don't know if that sounds crazy because I know that they're one of the teams. Okay, you know what? Sorry. I'm gonna fix this. The best case scenario for the Milwaukee Bucks is winning a championship. It sounds crazy. I know, but that's kind of what the Milwaukee Bucks do. They shock everyone. They make it to the finals. They come back. Giannis is saying, you know, you should have never doubted us. Me and Dame are the best, whatever it is. That's who the Milwaukee Bucks are. So best case scenario ever in the world, they make it to the finals. The most likely situation for them, though, in my opinion, is maybe a second round team. As of right now, they'd be going up against the Orlando Magic, and I think that they could take that series and make their way into the second round. Worst case scenario is they lose in the first round and leave at that point. Just first round exit, just dead out like that. Moving over to the Western Conference, the OKC Thunder. Best case scenario is winning a championship. I mean, they are built for this situation. They have the depth, they have the defense, they have the offense, just like the Cleveland Cavaliers. We just saw it today. Even though they lost in that game, I still do think that they have what it takes to go and win a championship. So that is by far their best case scenario. Their worst case scenario, though, like second round. I don't think that they can lose in the first round, even though it's an insanely hard Western Conference and literally anything can happen. There are certain teams that are capable of beating this OKC Thunder team, especially in a playoff series. So I think that a second round is probably their worst case scenario. Most likely situation for them, I'll send them to the Western Conference Finals. I think that that's a very fair, pick for them. Western Conference Finals is most likely probably going to make it to the NBA Finals. Congratulations. The Denver Nuggets. I'm going to be honest, y'all. I only have them in this list because Jokic is on this team and because they won a championship a couple of years ago. I don't actually think that they can win anything. I think that this team is done. Their window is closed, but they have fucking Nikola Jokic, so god damn it, their window always stays open. Best case scenario, Western Conference Finals. They're not even a finals team to me. They can't even win a championship in my mind, but they're one of those teams that can make it deep like the Western Conference Finals. Worst case scenario for them, probably first round exit. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think Jokic will ever allow that, but, you know, first round exit for them. But the most likely situation for them, I'm going to say, is like a second round playoff team. I don't think they make it anywhere near the fucking conference finals. I don't think they can make it fucking anywhere close to the NBA finals. This team is just not that good, especially when it comes to the playoffs and, you know, competition like that in the Western Conference. Literally anything can happen. So that being said, that's kind of like my mid-season predictions as of right now. Those are also the teams that I feel like are true contenders, so I guess we'll see when the NBA Finals come around if I was dead off or if I actually got some of these guys right. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think. Who are some of the true contenders in your mind? And was I off on any of these picks? Let me know. I read and respond to everyone. Also, if you're a Houston Rockets, Memphis Grizzlies, Mavericks, or Lakers fan, don't get mad that I didn't call your team true contenders, okay? Same goes with Pacers fans. They made the conference finals and now they think that they're going to win championships. I'm sorry. It's not going to happen. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.